Hello all, welcome to Paritranaya IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing about the economics related questions that have appeared in Prelims 2024. So, we are proud to claim that 11 out of 13 questions in Prelims 2024 can be directly answered from our notes. Okay, so the questions pertaining to economics can be directly answered. 11 out of 13 questions. So, this speaks about the strike rate. Now, here in this video, so a few of the sources means the content where they are present in our notes. So I'll be showing you those content, but for complete notes you can download our application and get access to all the complete notes of ours with respect to economy as well as other subjects. So you can download our application through the link that has been given in the description box. So let us begin with the question. So with reference to the Indian economy, collateral borrowing and lending obligations are the instruments of. So whether they are instruments of bond market, whether they are instruments of forex market, whether they are instruments of money market or stock market. So this is the question. So in order to answer this question, we need to know what is a bond market, we need to know what is forex market, we need to know what is money market and stock market. Okay. So in our notes, we will be finding information about all these aspects, but here I have focused only on money market. Okay. So this is our source with respect to money market. So money market, when you want to take a loan for a period which is shorter than 1 year, then we call it as what? The market where we participate, it is called as money market. Okay, money market. So where money is taken for less than a period of 1 year. Okay, 1 year. So that is called as money market. So in detail, again, we have made a discussion. You can watch our YouTube video as well pertaining to money market. But here, when you look at the money market instruments, we have various money market instruments. One is repo, that is treasury bills, cash management bills, commercial paper, certificate of deposit. Next, non-convertible debentures of original or initial maturity up to 1 year. So similarly, collateralized borrowing and lending obligations. Okay, lending obligations. So this is one of the money market instrument. So from this we conclude that the question, that is collateral borrowing and lending obligations, so they are instruments of money market. So the correct answer for this question is money market. Next, so look at this question. So here consider the following statements. In India, non-banking financial companies can access the liquidity adjustment facility window of the Reserve Bank of India. Next, in India, foreign institutional investors can hold government securities, that is GSEC. In India, stock exchanges can offer separate trading platform for debts. So the options available are 1 and 2, 3 only, 1, 2 and 3, 2 and 3. So in order to answer this question, we need to have a clear understanding as to what is liquidity adjustment facility. Okay, liquidity adjustment facility and who all can participate in it. So liquidity adjustment facility is a part of monetary policy. Okay, it's a part of monetary policy. So let us look into its content. Okay, so here we have. So we already discussed about monetary policy as well. So you can watch our monetary policy related video. So here there are various instruments of monetary policy. For example, repo rate, reverse repo rate, liquidity adjustment facility, marginal standing facility, corridor. So cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio, open market operations, market stabilization scheme. So all these are instruments of monetary policy. So among them, one instrument is liquidity adjustment facility. So let us look into, here we have discussed in detail about the other instruments. Here I will directly move to liquidity adjustment facility. Okay, so liquidity adjustment facility, it helps in the management of inflation in the economy by increasing and decreasing the money supply. So we have discussed in our classes about how this liquidity adjustment facility helps in increasing or decreasing the money supply. But here directly we shall focus from the question point of view. So here RBI offers banks. Okay, so RBI, it offers the opportunity of liquidity adjustment facility to whom? It offers it only to banks. Okay, it does not offer to non-banking financial companies. So an opportunity to borrow money through repurchase agreements or repos. So what are these repurchase agreements, repos? We have discussed in our regular classes, so you can watch those class related videos. But here we got to know that RBI offers the liquidity adjustment facility opportunity only to banks, and hence the same is not extended to non-banking financial companies. Okay, non-banking financial companies. So based upon that, let us try to answer this question. So here in India, non-banking financial companies can access liquidity adjustment facility window under the Reserve Bank of India? No, because NBFCs did not have this access. Only banks can access it. Hence, option number 1 is wrong. So as option number 1 is wrong, I'll eliminate wherever 1 is present. So option number A and option number D, they get eliminated. Sorry, option number C, they get eliminated. Now only there are 2 options left, either 3 only or 2 and 3 only. Okay, 2 and 3 only. So here 3 is present at both the locations. So here also 3 is there, here also 3 is there. From this we conclude that option 3 is correct. That is, in India, stock exchanges can offer separate trading platforms for debts. Yes, it is correct. Next, we have to verify whether the second statement is correct or wrong. If it is correct, then the correct option will be D. If it is wrong, then the correct option will be 3. So what is the second option? Second option says, in India, foreign institutional investors can hold government securities. Okay. So let us try to verify the same with the help of our notes. So here we have government security related compilation, our notes. So here when we go through this compilation, we'll understand that there are government securities like treasury bills, cash management bills, etc. Here at the end, we'll find government securities are available for purchase by various entities, including banks. So banks can purchase government securities. Financial institutions like they can purchase government securities. Mutual funds can purchase government securities. Insurance companies can purchase government securities. Primary dealers, corporate entities, individuals, and foreign investors. So very important point to note here is, even foreign investors, they can purchase government securities. Okay, government securities. And here the foreign investors include foreign institutional investors as well. So from this we conclude that foreign investors can also invest in government securities. So based upon that, based upon this discussion, let us try to answer this question. So here already we have come to a conclusion that 1 is false. So already we have come to a conclusion that 3 is true. So now we have to only verify whether 2 is right or wrong. Yes, 2 is right, because in India, foreign institutional investors, they can hold the government securities. Hence the answer is 2 and 3 only. 2 and 3. 2 and 3. So this is our compilation. So a crispy material which we have prepared from exam point of view. So similar kind of information is available for every topic of economics. Okay, every topic of economics. To get complete access to our notes, I'll urge you to download our application through the link that has been shared in the description box. So, okay, description box. Next. So this is the question. Consider the following airports: Doni Polo Airport, Kushinagar International Airport, Vijayawada International Airport. So this is a current affairs based question. So here Vijayawada International Airport, it's an old airport. So it existed even during the time of Second World War as well. Again, one more point that we have to focus here is greenfield projects. So what are greenfield projects? So greenfield, and one more term is brownfield. So generally when we refer to projects, there are 2 types of projects, greenfield and brownfield. So greenfield means entirely new project which you will initiate, and brownfield means whatever the existing project is there, so some kind of changes will bring in the same infrastructure. So that is called as brownfield project. So here they are asking about greenfield projects. It means freshly which have been initiated recently and have been concluded. So this is the one of the oldest airport. So this should not be part of our answer. So if we eliminate 3, so we'll come to answer, that is A, 1 and 2. But in spite of that, we should also know that, so there were some initiatives in 2017 and 18. So projects were started with respect to Doni Polo Airport in Arunachal Pradesh and Kushinagar International Airport in Uttar Pradesh. Okay, Uttar Pradesh. So this is a current affairs based question. So the answer is 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Next, the total fertility rate in an economy is. Okay, so the total fertility rate in an economy is how many to how many children a woman will be able to give birth during her childbearing age. Okay, so the option is, correct answer is D. The average number of live births a woman would have by the end of her childbearing age. Okay, so the answer is option D. So the ideal fertility rate should be, for any country, should be 2.1. Okay, 2.1. Next, in India, which of the following can trade in corporate bonds and government securities? Okay. So whether insurance companies can trade in corporate bonds, whether pension funds can trade in corporate bonds, whether retail investors can trade in corporate bonds, whether all the 3 can trade in government securities? Yes. So insurance companies can trade in both corporate bonds as well as government securities. Similarly, pension funds as well as retail investors, they can also trade in corporate bonds as well as government securities. Hence the answer is 1, 2 and 3. Okay. So in order to get access to detailed discussion, you can watch our other YouTube related videos, and also you can download our application to get complete access to our notes. Okay. Notes pertaining to these aspects. Next, coming to next question. So consider the following: exchange traded funds, motor vehicles, currency swap. So which of the above are considered as financial instruments? Okay, financial instruments. So financial instruments are one which can be traded. Okay, which can be traded. So here motor vehicles, this is not a financial instrument. Okay, exchange traded funds, these are financial instruments. And in order to have understanding about what exactly is exchange traded funds, I will urge you to download our application and go through our notes, or you can even watch our class related videos to understand the same, that is about exchange traded funds. Similarly, currency swap, when it comes to international trade with respect to financial instruments, currency swap will come into picture. For this also I will urge you to watch our class related video. Okay, so here both exchange traded funds as well as currency swap, these are financial instruments, whereas a motor vehicle is not a financial instrument. Hence the answer is 1 and 3. Answer is 1 and 3 only. 1 and 3 only. Next, with reference to the sectors of the Indian economy, consider the following pairs. So generally when it comes to sectors of the economy, we classify them into primary, secondary and tertiary. So primary means where we exploit the natural resources. So such sectors are called as primary sectors. For example, it may be mining or agriculture sector. So all these are examples of what primary sector. So the secondary sector, where something is processed, we call it as secondary sector. Okay, example is a manufacturing industry. Okay, manufacturing industry or industry which manufactures, let us assume, sugar. It comes under secondary sector. Now coming to tertiary sector, so one which extends support to both primary sector as well as secondary sector. So such a sector is called as tertiary sector. Example: communication facilities, transportation facilities, and banking facilities. So these are examples of tertiary facilities. Okay, tertiary facilities. So based upon this basic understanding, we should be able to answer this question. Now the first option, storage of agricultural produce. Okay, so involving in agriculture, it's a primary sector. Okay, primary sector, that is growing of crops and all, it's a primary sector. Next, processing of crops, for example, producing sugar out of sugarcane juice, that is secondary sector. But before that, when you do storage, when you kind of extend support to the any of these sectors, so storage of agricultural produce, okay, it's extending support to the primary sector. So this comes under what? Tertiary sector. It's not a secondary sector, it comes under tertiary sector, because you are not involved either in the exploiting of the natural resources or in agriculture, but you are providing services to the primary sector, that is agricultural sector. Hence storage of agricultural produce, it comes under tertiary sector. It comes under tertiary sector. Hence the first one is wrong. Wrong. Next, dairy farm. Yes, dairy farm, it comes under primary sector. Dairy farm, growing of crops, all these they come under what? Primary sector. Next, mineral exploration. So where you are exploiting the natural resources, so it comes under primary sector. It comes under primary sector. Hence the third option is also wrong. Wrong. Next, weaving cloth. So if you grow cotton, that's an example of a primary sector. But after that, after preparing thread, when you start weaving cloths and all, it comes under secondary sector. So fourth one is right. Okay, fourth one is right. So how many of the above given pairs above are correctly matched? Here the correctly matched pairs are dairy farm with primary and weaving cloth with secondary. Hence the answer here is only 2. Next, with reference to physical capital in Indian economy, consider the following pairs. So generally when it comes to capital, we classify in different ways, but here we shall only confine to discussion of working capital and fixed capital. So the fixed capital is one which helps us for the long term growth. Okay, long term growth, and working capital is for the day-to-day activities. For example, if you purchase a equipment, a machinery, it's a what? Fixed capital. Okay, it's a fixed capital. Now daily, in order to run that machine, you will spend your money on fuel. For example, it may be petrol or diesel. So it's an example of working capital. Okay, working capital. Every month you pay rent for your the building. So that is a working capital. Okay, working capital. But you purchase some kind of chairs, board, etc. for the classroom. So that's an example of fixed capital. Okay, fixed capital. So similarly, some items have been given here, and the category, whether they are working capital or fixed capital they have given. We have to identify whether the pairs have been correctly matched or not. So farmer's plow, okay, farmer's plow. So it's a permanent asset. It's a permanent asset. Hence it comes under fixed capital and not working capital. So the first option is wrong. Okay, wrong. Now computer, it's a permanent asset. No doubt after certain years there will be a deterioration, but computer is a permanent asset. Hence it's a fixed capital, and second one is right. Now coming to third one, yarn. So what is yarn? A thread which is used in the industry. Okay, thread used by the weaver. So here thread, it does not come under fixed capital. It comes under what? Working capital. So yarn comes under working capital. Hence the third pair is wrong. Wrong. Now coming to petrol, yes, obviously it comes under working capital. So from this we understood that first one is wrong and also third one is wrong. So the correct is second and fourth. So the answer is only 2. Okay, only 2 pairs are correct. Okay, 2 pairs are correct. So this was just a discussion at the superficial level. Again, in order to understand it in detail, I'll urge you to watch our class related videos and also download our application and get access to all our crispy notes. Okay, Next, with reference to the rules imposed by the Reserve Bank of India while treating foreign banks under the following statement, consider the following statements. There is no minimum capital requirement for the wholly owned banking subsidiaries in India. So an important point to note here is, what is subsidiary? Okay, if one company is owned partially or fully by other company, then we call it as a subsidiary. For example, let us assume there is a company called as A. There is a company called as A. So another company B, it buys more than 51% of the shares. So a company B, it buys more than 51% shares of A, then A will become subsidiary of B, and B will also be called as holder company or parent company So sometimes if this becomes more than 51% and if it becomes to 100%, it means company B, if it buys 100% of the shares of company A, then this A will become wholly owned subsidiary of A. Okay, subsidiary of B, sorry. Okay. In that fashion, a foreign bank, can it have a wholly owned subsidiary in India which is completely owned by a foreign entity? Yes, that is permissible. Okay, that is permissible. But here they are saying there is no minimum capital requirement. False. So when a foreign bank wants to start a bank in India, so there is a minimum capital requirement which they have to satisfy. Hence the first statement is wrong. Here we understood what subsidiary and what is wholly owned subsidiary, and there is some minimum capital requirement as well. Okay, capital requirement as well. Hence option number 1 is false. Next, for a wholly owned banking subsidiary in India, at least 50% of the board members should be Indian nationals. So again, this is an important point. So any bank, it consists of board of directors. Okay, board of directors. So those board members, when a foreign bank starts its subsidiary, wholly owned subsidiary in India. Okay, let us assume a bank which is present in USA. Let's call it as A. Okay, so in India they will start its subsidiary called as B. So it is wholly owned by A. So in this bank which is present in India, so there are directors or board members. So among these board members, more than 50% board members should be Indians. Okay, Indians. So these are the rules and regulations made by India. So hence option number 2 is correct, 1 is wrong. So the correct answer is 2 only. 2 only. Now next, coming to corporate social responsibility, a very important point and what frequently which appears in the newspaper as well. So corporate social responsibility. So with reference to corporate social responsibility in India, consider the following statements. So under the corporate social responsibility, so whatever the profit a company makes, out of that certain percentage of the amount it has to spend on social responsibilities. For example, building schools or building infrastructure related to sanitation, etc. Okay, etc. So that is called as corporate social responsibility. So CSR rules specify that expenditures that benefit the company directly or its employees will not be considered as CSR activities. True. Okay. So as part of the CSR activities, a company cannot give extra funding to its own employees. If it starts doing that, then it will not be considered as CSR. Okay, CSR. So the first statement is true. Okay. Whatever the contribution you make towards your institute's development or to your employees, so that will not be considered as CSR. So first statement is true. Second one, CSR rules do not specify minimum spending on CSR activities. So it is false. So the rules say that minimum 2% of the 3 years average profit has to be spent on CSR. Hence the second one is false. Okay, second one is false. 1 is correct. So the correct answer for this question is 1 only. Okay, 1 only. Next. Okay. So this question is a bit tricky. If the United States of America, were to default on its debt, holders of the US Treasury bonds will not be able to exercise the claims to receive the payments. So what does it mean? US Treasury bills means, so whatever the government, the loan that it raises, okay, through bonds. So generally they raise through what? Treasury bills. Even in India also, the government gets amount through what? Treasury bonds. So treasury bonds will be given by the government to the investors. Okay. Treasury bonds will be given by the government to the investors. Okay. Now suppose after 1 year, for example, if the bond period is for 1 year, after 1 year, when the investor wants his money back, if the government defaults, if it says that I do not have money with me, then what happens with the investor? Does the investor have any right to claim his money? Okay, so here there is no right. Okay, there is no right. If the United States of America were to default on its debt, holders of the US Treasury bills will not be able to exercise their claims to receive payment. Okay, they will not be having that right to receive the payment. So this not only extends to USA, it also extends to every other country as well. It may be India or it may be any other country. So the first one is true. The first one is true. Next, the USA government debt is not backed by the hard assets but only by the faith of the government. This is also correct. So when government takes loans, so it has not given any kind of collateral. Okay, it has not given any kind of collateral. Now supposedly when a common man goes to a bank to secure a loan, so generally he has to keep a collateral. For example, he has to keep gold, or he had to pledge the assets and all, then itself he will be able to secure loan. But when government takes the loan from the market, so who is the security here? So the trust of the government, the faith of the government itself is the security. Hence, when the government takes loan, government's debt is not backed by hard assets. Okay, hard assets. This is the reason why when the government defaults on the debt, when it is unable to repay its debt, so the person who has invested, who has taken the US bonds, he will not be able to get back his payment. Hence here both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and also statement 2 is the correct explanation for statement 1. Okay, statement 1. Hence the answer here is 1 only. Okay, both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation for statement 1. Statement 1. Next, consider the following statements. Syndicated lending. Syndicated lending spreads the risk of borrower default across multiple lenders. So what does syndicate lending mean? Syndicate lending means when 2 or more banks together, they lend to a single borrower, then we call it a syndicate lending. So generally when the borrower wants a huge amount of money, and if a single bank is unable to give that loan, then the syndicate lending takes place. For example, SBI, Corporation Bank, and let us assume ICICI Bank. So all three together, they lend loan to a person or a company. Okay, to a company. So this is called as syndicate lending. Okay, syndicate lending. Now here, if this company, if it fails to repay the loan, okay, so here the risk is not confined to only one bank, but the risk is shared across all the banks. Okay, all the banks. Hence the first statement, it's right. First statement is right. So syndicate lending spreads the risk of borrower default across multiple lenders. So here both SBI, Corporation as well as ICICI Bank, all the banks will share the risk of default. Okay, share the risk of default. Next, the syndicated loan can be fixed amount, lump sum of funds, but cannot be a credit line. Okay, this is false. So we need to understand the difference between lump sum amount and credit line. So that there are two different ways of lending the amount. So in some cases, when they lend lump sum amount, fixed amount will be given. For example, 1 lakh loan is given, let us assume, and it is given at the rate of interest, let us assume 10%. So the person has to pay monthly interest rate, or EMI he has to pay. Okay. So initially when he is being given, he will be given complete 1 lakh rupees. But in case of credit line, so the maximum amount that can be given as a loan to a person will be fixed. For example, let us assume they will fix it at 1 lakh. They will fix it at, let us assume, 1 lakh. But the person who is who wants to borrow, he need not borrow 1 lakh at one go. So what he will do based on his requirement. So initially from 1 lakh, he will just take 20,000 rupees. Later on when the requirement increases, again he may take extra 20,000 rupees, and so on. and also after taking this 40,000, if you want to return it, then he can again return back the amount. So here what we need to understand here is the total amount that he can borrow is fixed at 1 lakh. So within that he can take loan any number of time and he can repay that partial amount as well. Okay, so this is called as credit line. So it is something similar to our credit cards. Okay, credit cards. So here the second statement says that syndicated loan can be only fixed or lump sum of funds and it cannot be a credit line. So this is false. When it comes to syndicate lending, it can either happen in the form of a lump sum amount or it can even happen in the form of a credit line as well. So hence 2 is false, 1 is correct. Okay, 1 is correct. Hence the answer to this question is C. Statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is wrong. Okay, statement 2 is wrong. Next, consider the consider the following statements in respect of the digital rupee. So the question on digital rupee had also appeared in 2023 as well, and same the trend has continued. So digital rupee, it's a sovereign currency issued by the Reserve Bank of India in alignment with its monetary policy. Yes, so yes, it's a digital rupee, it's a sovereign currency, that is true, that is issued by the government, and next it is in alignment with the monetary policy. Yes, this is also correct. Okay, correct. Hence the first statement is right. It appears as a liability on the RBI's balance sheet. So again this point is important. When it comes to RBI, it has both a liability as well as asset. So this digital rupee, whether it is liability or an asset for the RBI, so it is an liability. So this is also correct. It is insured against inflation by its very design. False. So none of them are insured against inflation. So hence third one is false. So digital rupee, it is freely convertible against commercial bank money and cash. Yes, it is freely convertible against any commercial bank money and cash. Okay. So fourth option is also correct. Hence the answer here is 53rd. It is 1, 2 and 4. Here it is. So here it is 1, 2 and 4. 1, 2 and 4. So this is the fourth one is the correct answer. Fourth one is the correct answer for the same. So this was a brief discussion about the various economics related questions which appeared in the Prelims 2024. So directly we will be able to answer 11 out of 13 questions which have appeared from our notes. So I'll urge you to download our application once and go through our crispy content. Next, similarly in the forthcoming discussions, we will be discussing about the questions related to other subjects as well. For all our further updates, subscribe to our channel and hit on the bell icon. Thank you.